Good evening, and welcome to what's really going on with the disability insurance market. My name is Stephen Moscone. It's my pleasure to be here with you this afternoon and this evening. And I am the Vice President of CDSPI Advisory Services. Thank you once again for joining. Let's take a look at our agenda for this session. So we'll begin firstly with talking about what disability insurance is, understanding a little bit about the landscape, and specifically what it means to dentists. Then we're going to look in more detail with what disability coverage will actually provide when it's looking at protection for you and your family as a dentist. Tonight, we're going to feature CDSPI's DisabilityGuard insurance, which is tailored specifically for dentists. And we are going to look at some unique features it offers, including guaranteed premiums, non-cancellability coverage to age 75, and own occupation built right into the contract. Our featured speaker, who I'm going to introduce shortly, is going to go into greater detail on the own occupation. And finally, we'll end the session with an interactive question and answer. Before I go into our great speaker for this evening, I just want to highlight a few things that make CDSPI unique. It's a busy slide, but I want to highlight some important facts. First and foremost, we're a firm that's for dentists and it's not for profit. The not-for-profit status guides everything we do from an operating standpoint. It makes everything else in this slide make perfect sense. It's why over 13,000 dentists trust CDSPI to help protect and grow their wealth. We've been entrusted with more than $1.4 billion of assets under management for dentists and their families. And we're proud to say, and registered from a third-party source in the investment executive, that our funds on the performance side have ranked #1 relative to other segregated products that they're compared against. Moreover, sometimes in life, the day gets ahead of you or things just come in your way and you need help with things other than your practice. And that's where we've given a lot of attention to our members assistance program, which is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to assist you with that support that you're going to acquire outside your practice. And we're proud to say that we've been in operation for well over 65 years. Now, at this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our speaker and our subject matter expert. Her name is Julie Berthiaume. Julie is a bilingual senior insurance advisor with CDSPI. She holds her CAB designation, CAIB, and that stands for Canadian Accredited Insurance Broker, which is a nationally recognized designation, Her experience in the insurance industry spans in excess of 18 years. Julie, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Stephen. And welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. We hope you get some valuable information tonight and calm some of those nerves, because you may have heard about some changes in the disability insurance options for dentists, because we certainly have. We've had lots of clients who have been reaching out to us, and today we just wanted to address those concerns, put everyone's mind at ease, and just let you know exactly how the CDSPI DisabilityGuard product works. But first, let's get into, why does disability insurance matter? Well, what do you think is the #1 reason that dentists and dental students claim for CDSPI disability insurance? The answer is musculoskeletal. I'm sure this probably doesn't surprise any of you. After all, dentistry is physically taxing, and many dentists do suffer repetitive strain injuries, which can take you away from work for a period of time or perhaps end your career. So disability due to repetitive strain injuries is a real risk that you all do face, and something that we need to address. Because in fact, studies have shown that 1 in 4 dentists will suffer a disability at some point in their career that lasts at least 2 years. What if that was you? That's a long time to be without an income. How would you continue to pay your day to day living expenses, support a family, or any other day to day costs? Would you be okay without an income for that time? Probably not. And while accidents and debilitating diseases are unfortunately an unpredictable part of life, musculoskeletal disorders are within your control. So, first of all, don't ignore the warning signs. Pain and discomfort while performing your regular activities is an indication that something is wrong. Address these symptoms early, whether that means consulting with a specialist like an orthopedist or physiotherapist that are familiar with the demands of dentistry. Secondly, workplace ergonomics. These play a big role in preventing injuries, and this is particularly true for dentistry. The organization Occupational Health Clinics for Ontario Workers actually published a comprehensive guide to ergonomics and dental work that provides practical advice for dentists to reduce the odds of these injuries. So everybody should try and look that up. Thirdly, physically preparing for your working day. Make sure you get enough sleep, that you are stretching and strengthening key muscle groups. These are all simple strategies to avoid injury. And as a bonus, regular exercise can improve overall mental and physical health. In fact, a study cited by the American Medical Association earlier this year did confirm that adults who get 150 to 300 minutes of vigorous exercise per week are found to have 21 to 23% lower risk of all-cause mortality. And fourth, plan physical breaks throughout your workday and take them. It's important to take care of yourself to make sure that you are able to provide proper care to your patients. And these are a wonderful opportunity to get some fresh air or do those stretches. But what is disability insurance? Well, other than malpractice insurance, it's one of the most important insurances that you'll need. After all, your ability to earn an income is your greatest financial asset. What if you were to get sick or hurt and had to take time off of school or work? This could really significantly impact you. And even as a student, disability insurance is important. After all, disability can happen to anyone. Just a few years ago, we did have a UBC student who suffered a motorcycle accident and had to extend his schooling by 6 months. Inevitably, that meant that he was incurring additional debt, but he had disability insurance to help get him through that. Now, as a dentist, you are considered a self-employed individual rather than an employee. And this means that if you become disabled, you cannot make a claim through the government EI benefit, but rather you do need to rely upon your own disability insurance. Now, you may hear from other individual insurance providers, and often they do talk about CDSPI, but please note the products offered by CDSPI are exclusive to CDSPI. No other broker or advisor has access to them. And unfortunately, this means that sometimes these other brokers are relaying incorrect information to you. So please, if you ever have a question about a CDSPI product, please ask a CDSPI advisor. As was mentioned earlier, since we are a not-for-profit organization, it means all the advisors at CDSPI work on salary rather than commission. And this is quite unique in the industry, but a huge bonus for you because it gives us the ability to be objective in the advice that we provide to you. After all, we're here for what's best for you and to help you. So if you have a disability insurance product elsewhere, the one thing I want to make sure that you verify is what definition of disability is included in that policy. There are actually 3 available definitions. There's any occupation, regular occupation, and own occupation. Own occupation is the broadest form of the definition, and it is what you want in your policy as a dentist. If any of you who are in attendance tonight have our grandfathered long-term disability plan that we discontinued in 2017, please note that own occupation was a feature available in that plan, but it was not automatically included. So some of you may have it and some of you may not. But any of those who have that grandfathered plan, please note that it does remain in force as is, but no changes can be made to it. However, you certainly do have the option to switch to our current DisabilityGuard plan and just reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to have that conversation with you. So our current disability plan is called DisabilityGuard, and it does automatically include own occupation right built into the policy at no extra charge. The reason why own occupation is so important to dentists is that dentistry is one of the more lucrative professions in this country. And so if you become disabled and can't be a dentist anymore, maybe something has happened to your hands and you can't be a practicing dentist, but if you're too young to retire, you're going to have to choose to pursue another career elsewhere. But the odds are that that other career is likely not going to be as profitable as dentistry is. So this is where own occupation comes into play. If you have own occupation in your disability policy, you become disabled and can't be a dentist and start up another career. Maybe you're a real estate agent or something else. If you have own occupation, it means that you can still receive your disability benefit, even though you're now earning an income in another field. If you do not have own occupation and such a same scenario arises, the moment you start to earn income somewhere else, your disability benefit will stop, even if this new income is less than what you were making as a dentist. And so this is why we can't stress how important this is. And because dentists are our only clients, we know how important this feature is. And that is precisely why it is automatically included in our DisabilityGuard product. But let's look at two real life examples, because sometimes we all think we're invincible and a disability is not going to happen to us, but it can happen to anyone at any time. So this is Dr. Atwal. In January of 2021, she was thriving both personally with a supportive husband and a 3-year-old toddler, and professionally running a successful dental practice in East Gwillimbury, Ontario. However, her life took an unexpected turn when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. In a CDSPI interview earlier this year, she told us, "When you're a practicing dentist, you have to bring your A game, both mentally and physically," says Dr. Atwal. "When I was working, I made sure to be in bed by 9 every night, I exercised regularly, and I followed a vegetarian diet." With these healthy habits and no family history of breast cancer, the diagnosis came as a complete shock to her. And dentistry is a physically demanding job with long hours, standing or sitting in awkward positions while working on patients. But the challenges posed by cancer were even tougher on her body and her mind. Soon after her diagnosis, Dr. Atwal began to search for a part-time associate to help manage her practice while she was undergoing treatment. In 2023, after having been away from dentistry for 2 years, she was fortunate enough to be able to sell her practice to one of the associates that she had hired when she was first diagnosed. This move was key in lessening her stress and ensuring her patients continued to receive excellent care with minimal disruption. Even more fortuitous was the fact that Dr. Atwal had purchased disability insurance in her 4th year as a dental student. She says, "It's one of those things that you get and you hope that you never have to use it. But disability coverage made all the difference in the world," she said. "It took a lot of the financial stress away." And in the June edition of the CDSPI newsletter, The Loop, we focused on disability insurance and discussed Dr. Atwal's experience with breast cancer. Here's another example of a dentist who understands the value of own occupation. Dr. Williams speaks from experience. In 1996, he was working in his home workshop when, in a moment of complacency, he ended up amputating a couple fingers on his dominant hand. This left him in a worst case scenario, and he was ultimately forced to give up his dental practice and find a new path moving forward. Fortunately, he had the hindsight to purchase disability insurance, giving him the lifeline that he needed to push through one of the most difficult periods of his life. When it comes to insurance, he says it's easy to get hung up on the monthly costs. The money you have to pay to purchase through the money you have to pay in exchange for a payout you may never redeem. According to Dr. Williams, who is the chair on CDSPI's board of directors, by having own occupation coverage, he was able to continue collecting insurance even when switching careers. You can read more about their stories through the QR code on the slide and on our website. Okay, I think we can all agree that disability insurance and own occupation are essential for dentists. So here I just want to go through some of the very valuable and key features that our DisabilityGuard product offers. So first of all, it is a guaranteed non-cancellable policy until age 75. The only way this policy can ever get canceled is if you cancel it or you do not pay your premium. CDSPI can never cancel this policy on you, so rest assured that it is there to protect you for as long as you need it, up to age 75. You have the choice of choosing step or level premiums. So step premiums that increase with age every 5 years, or level premiums that start a little higher but are locked in until age 65. Both of these versions are guaranteed policies. Even if you choose the step version, we are able to tell you at the time of purchase what all of the premium increases will be all the way through till age 85. As I discussed, own occupation is automatically included in this product. It's not a feature you need to add or pay for. It is just automatically included. Other options that are automatically included in our policy are HIV and hepatitis protection. Given the nature of your work, it is a risk that you do face, and options that you can add on to it. So the future insurance guarantee rider or the cost of living adjustment rider. Now, the reason why we've been able to have all these fantastic features included in our policy for you guys is that we have purchasing power. Because we have us at clientele, we can go to the insurance company and say, if you want our business and this whole group of clients that comes along with it, what is the best rate that you can get or give us? And if you are shopping around, please make sure you don't just look at premiums. You have to do an apples to apples comparisons. So not just the amount of coverage, but the terms and conditions, the riders, the features. These are all things that you do need to take into consideration. But our product is very, very competitive in the market and does often come out at a very economical and better price for you. So please reach out to one of our advisors to discuss your options going forward. Okay, so you may think, I get it. I need disability insurance, but how much do I need? Well, disability insurance is designed to replace a percentage of your income, and how much you are eligible for does depend on that income. So if we look at this example here, $5,900 is what is eligible for an individual who is earning $125,000 a year. Now, when you do apply for coverage, we are going to ask you for proof of income by means of your most recent T1. And if you are incorporated, we're also going to look at your most recent corporate financial statement, because we certainly understand that dentists do run a lot of income through the corporation for tax purposes. So T1 personal income plus the gross profit of the corporation is what is the income that is going to be looked at to determine how much coverage you are eligible for. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, 5,900 times 12, that does not equal 125,000. Now, remember, disability insurance is only designed to replace a percentage of your income. But one way you can help offset this, think about it, that 125,000, you don't actually bring home 125,000 because you have to pay tax on that. Well, with disability insurance, as long as you are paying for the premiums personally with after-tax dollars, then should you become disabled, that benefit is received tax-free. Whereas if you are paying for it with the corporation or writing it off as a business expense, then that benefit is taxable. Now, generally speaking, in a time of disability, you usually have less income coming in to begin with. Why would you want to pay tax on top of that? So make sure you pay for your disability insurance with personal after-tax dollars, and then that benefit will not be taxable, and that will help offset the difference between what your take-home income was and what the amount of insurance is. Now, $5,900 is by no means the maximum that we offer. Our plan does go up to a maximum of $25,000 a month. And disability insurance is not something that you just need to get once, put it on the shelf and forget about it. It is something that does need to be reviewed yearly and at any major milestones in your career. So if you are purchasing a clinic, if you are moving to another province or anything like that, call us, review your disability insurance, make sure you still have the right amount, and at least once a year, because you don't want to, say take out disability while you're in dental school, forget about it for the next 20 years, and then you become disabled. You certainly would not have enough income to justify your career after that 20 years. So make sure you call us once a year and review that. You don't need to be an expert in it. That's why we're here. Now, with the recent changes in the industry, we've been getting a lot of questions from dental students and dentists about CDSPI and our DisabilityGuard plan. So I want to address a few of those now. So first of all, will current CDSPI policyholders be affected by these changes? The simple answer is no. Nothing is changing with the CDSPI disability policy. Secondly, how does the occupation class change affect dentists? Well, several years ago, some of you may recall this, but Canada Life had changed their occupation class for dentists from 4A down to 3A. We've now heard from some of our clients that they're doing that again down to 2A. Now, what this means is because other insurance companies don't just work with dentists, but they work with every possible occupation under the sun. And inevitably, some occupations are riskier than others. And so consequently, insurance companies do charge these clients different rates depending on their occupation and the risk that it faces. Earlier, I said that CDSPI only deals with dentists. You guys are our only clients, which means we do not have an occupation class category because we only work with one occupation. So no, we are not changing our premiums either. Third, can I get a CDSPI product from another broker? I alluded to this earlier that no, and remember those CDSPI products are specific to CDSPI, so no other broker can offer them to you, only through us. And we are a member benefit for you. And fourth, is CDSPI going to make these same changes in the market? CDSPI has no intention to change the policy terms. We will continue to focus on the group negotiating power and advocating for protection that is tailored for dentists, and we have no plans to change anything. So please rest assured and have that peace of mind. Any of these changes have had zero impact on CDSPI and your policies with us. Now, to wrap up the session, and then we'll move on to Q&A later, we know that disability risk management is just a part of your overall financial well-being. But your well-being is affected by all of these various things that you see on the screen and how they all interact and work together. And at CDSPI, we try to make it a one-stop shopping by offering you a comprehensive suite of financial products for all of your needs across Canada, because your financial well-being is a balanced portfolio of all of these things. So first of all, we have investments. This investment solutions that we offer are built solely with the needs of the Canadian dental community in mind. Insurance to protect your life, your family, and your practice. Financial planning to help you achieve your goals. And then we also have some strategic partnerships to make it that one-stop shopping. So our partnership with Scotiabank to provide you with preferred pricing on things like credit cards, lines of credit, practice financing, loans, mortgages. So if you do need that, please do reach out, as you maybe don't have an established banking relationship as of yet. We'd be happy to put you in touch. And then also our latest strategic partnership is with MNP, which is one of the largest accounting firms in Canada. Again, they will provide you with preferred pricing on accounting needs, so appraisals of practices, incorporating, and many other things. And then lastly, our members assistance program that Stephen spoke briefly about earlier. So this is a no cost, completely confidential counseling service available 24/7. We do offer it through a third party called TELUS Health for privacy reasons, but it's not just a counseling service. It's also a great referral service and information service. So whether you need nutrition information, fitness information, help writing a resume, finding daycare, anything. Or if you need to hire a lawyer or some other professional, you can do so through the Members Assistance Program and often get it at a discounted rate. Life is stressful and everybody needs help once in a while. So if you do need that, please do not hesitate to reach out. We're just going to move it over to the Q&A right now. Stephen?
Thanks, Julie. Let's start with this one came through. If we move to another country, or to the US as an example, are you still able to provide the insurance?
Sure. So our insurance is available to keep anywhere in Canada, the US, Bahamas, and Bermuda. Outside of those countries, it's going to depend on where you're going, why, and for how long. And then we just need to run it by the insurance company for their approval. But anywhere in Canada, the US, absolutely no problem at all to keep it.
Thanks, Julie. I know you touched on this in your question, pardon me, in your actual presentation, but I think it's important that you reiterate it. So let me ask it to you in a different way than it's phrased here, but it's very similar. Can Manulife decide to end its contract with CDSPI? And what would that mean for members?
Sure. So as I kind of alluded to in the presentation, we have purchasing power because we have a large group of clients. If Manulife ever wanted to terminate their contract with us, plenty of notice would need to be given to us, and we would actively be searching for a new provider. And we would only take the new provider if they are going to honor all of our existing policies. So any change in insurance company, if it ever did happen, would not be to the detriment of our clients, but certainly only to make sure that that new company would honor all of our existing policies and provide the best policies and care that that our clients have come to expect.
Just working my way through this question here. So it's a two-parter. Let's start with the first one. What exactly is covered in disability? You mentioned musculoskeletal issues. However, everyone has different thresholds when it comes to pain tolerance. Can you elaborate?
Sure. So what constitutes a valid disability is basically two things. So first of all, that you are losing at least 20% of your pre-disability income. So for example, if you were working 40 hours a week and now due to disability, you're only working 38 hours a week, that's not a 20% loss. You can't put in a claim for that. But as long as it's a 20% loss and you are under the ongoing care of a physician, those are the two criteria we're looking at. Of course, pending your policy does not already have an exclusion on it, which would have been determined at the time of approval. Some individuals do have exclusions, but outside of that, a disability can be due to illness or accident. So it doesn't need to be work related. You could be in a car accident or have a skiing accident or anything like that. So 20% income loss and under the ongoing care of a physician is what constitutes a disability. If you are only off part-time, like maybe you're only working 50% of your regular hours, you can put in a partial disability claim as well. And what was the second part of that, Stephen?
Sure. What if later in life I decide to step away from practice because my back is giving me issues, giving up on me, and now I want to go into teaching? Would I still be eligible for insurance?
This is gonna be where that own occupation clause comes in a little bit. So under own occupation, for that to kick in, you need to be disabled from every aspect of the career that you were doing immediately prior to disability. So for example, if prior to disability, you are an active practicing dentist and you teach on the side, and then you can't be a practicing dentist anymore, so you decide to teach full time. In that situation, own occupation is not going to come into play. But in the flip side, if you were 100% a practicing dentist, you become disabled and now decide to teach, which is not something you did before, then own occupation will come into play and you will still be able to receive your disability benefit, even though you're now earning an income teaching.
We're going to switch gears a little. Can you briefly touch on some of the differences between critical illness and disability insurance?
Sure, and both are equally important, but disability insurance is a monthly income replacement insurance, where critical illness insurance is a lump sum payout if you have been diagnosed with one of the insured critical illnesses and you have to survive it for a certain period of time. So sometimes that survival period can be anywhere from 30 days to 180 days. So if you get diagnosed with one of the illnesses covered by your critical illness policy and you survive that survival period, it'll pay out as a lump sum for you to do with as you choose, where the disability is, the monthly income replacement.
Thanks, Julie. All right, this one is someone's asking for a friend, I mean for themselves. I have disability through Manulife for 8 years now. My insurance advisor at the time had told me about a specific rule I was covered for that meant that if I make no claims in the first 10 years, I can get 50% of my premiums back. I'm curious if this is something you were familiar with.
Sure. So that's called return of premium. And yeah, generally speaking, if for a policy that does have return of premium, if usually 15 years go by and you have not made a claim, you can surrender the policy, so give it up and get premiums back. But as one of my earlier slides mentioned, 1 in 4 dentists are going to suffer a disability. So what are the odds that, maybe 15 years go by and you don't make a claim? And just to add on to that, the return of premium feature is not cheap, it's costly. And so you're paying for something that you may never use because you might be that 1 in 4 dentists. The CDSPI product does not have the return of premium rider, but I don't think, it's in your best odds because the moment you put in a claim, you've null and voided that return of premium feature that you've been paying for years. So I am aware of what it is, but you would have to give up the policy and have never put in a claim for that to even come into play.
So we're getting a lot of questions on some specific carriers that we, I guess, compete with. So rather than ask you directly, Julie, I'll just lump them all together, and maybe because the same theme seems to come up on them, and saying that I have a policy that's non-cancelable.
Mm-hmm.
Is yours different in any way than my non-cancelable policy from X?
Okay, so ours also is a non-cancelable policy. It is, not a unique just to CDSPI, but you can have disability insurance with more than one company. There's no rule against that. And having it non-cancelable just gives you that peace of mind that the only way that policy can ever be canceled is if you cancel it or you don't pay your invoice. So that's not going to be different from CDSPI to another provider. So the differences that are going to set us apart are some of the key features that we include and offer to you. and the fact that we are, part of organized dentistry, sponsored by the PDAs and the CDA, and simply the service that you are going to receive from CDSPI advisors, knowing that we are providing you by advice that's in your best interest, because we do not work on commission, which, as I said earlier, is very unique in this industry.
So once again, I'm going to lump in a few questions, and this covers where you were talking about our actual premiums. So let me ask it this way. Is the premium guaranteed until age 65? And then can you re-explain the difference between step versus level premiums?
Of course. Of course. So yes, our DisabilityGuard product is guaranteed non-cancellable. So the guaranteed means that when the policy is activated, all the terms and conditions, including the premium, are locked in and guaranteed for you till age 65. So whatever premiums you get when your policy is activated, that is guaranteed for you, even if the policy were to change down the road. That would not impact existing policies. Now, the difference between step and level. So a step premium starts lower, but it does increase every 5 years until as you get older. But because it is a guaranteed policy, when we activate that insurance, we are able to tell you with certainty exactly what all those increases will be down the road, so that there's no surprises coming. You know what to expect. The other option is a level premium structure. So a level premium, it starts a little higher than the step one, but it does not increase until age 65. So if you took out a policy now, even when you'd be 64 years old, you'd still be paying the premium as if you were today's age. Now, I've done a lot of these quotes for clients, and I find that step and level, they kind of balance out around that 10-year mark. So, if you are 25, 30 years old, if you look at the big picture over the course of time, I definitely think the level option is better for you. Whereas if you're 55 years old, well, then maybe the step option is better for you. But it's entirely up to you when you are applying for coverage, which you want to choose. You could absolutely be 30 years old and want to go with a step premium because you want the lower cost initially, just understanding that it will increase with time.
Excellent. So let's go back to the definition of disability. And this is where this question stems from. Does seeing a physiotherapist and or chiropractor for ongoing musculoskeletal pain, which is affecting my dental work at the moment, would that be considered an option to apply for disability insurance?
Absolutely. You can still apply for insurance. I mean, very few people have a perfect, clean bill of health. There are plenty of people out there that, have massage therapy or chiropractors or physio, exactly like we were saying, on preventative basis to, minimize anything getting worse, or just, preventative basis. So it doesn't prohibit you from being eligible for insurance. When you apply for disability insurance with us, there's a few possible outcomes. So you can have a standard approval. You can have an approval with an exclusion, or in worst case scenario, a decline. But often when they issue a policy with an exclusion, it may just be because there's something recent in your medical history that still is a little bit of a cause for concern. But often when they list an exclusion, they may also issue a reconsideration date. So if X amount of time passes and no further symptoms or problems, you can apply to remove that exclusion. But just because you do see chiropractor or physio absolutely does not mean that it's going to not have a favorable outcome. And it also doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be an exclusion. There's a possibility, but it's not a guaranteed outcome for that. So give us a call and we can discuss your scenario, and certainly move forward with an application if you're interested.
Just on that note, if there is a rating, does that affect the premium?
Yes. So a rating is when the insurance company feels that you are a higher risk than the average person, that they may charge you more than the average person. So that's what a rating is. And I have seen it happen. I more often than not, I see that happen with life insurance rather than disability insurance.
Thanks, Julie. And this one's this one's going to cover through on the disability period. So if I become disabled, is the benefit period up to age 65 or limited at 2 or 5 years?
Okay. So if you are disabled, the benefit is payable until the earlier of recovery or age 65. So whichever is first.
We're going to go back to own occupation. So other than the feature of own occupation, what other features are available through CDSPI's disability plan?
Sure. So there are a couple other options that you can add. So one is called the future insurance guarantee, which I think is very important, particularly for younger dentists. What it does is that it gives you the ability every year at your birthday to increase the coverage by a certain percentage without having to do any medical questions. And the advantage to this, like I said earlier, our health is never guaranteed and can change at any point. So your health might change down the road, maybe not to the point that you're disabled, but it might change to the point that you can't pass an insurance medical anymore. And if that were the case, and you don't have that future insurance guarantee rider, then you would no longer be able to increase your disability insurance. So I do think it is important to have that to protect your ability to increase coverage down the road. The other one is called the cost of living adjustment. So this one is designed to protect you against inflation in the event of a lengthy disability. So what that means is that if you suffer a disability that lasts more than 1 year, then each year that you are on claim, it will increase your disability benefit according to the Consumer Price Index up to a maximum of 8%. If you didn't have this, and let's say you suffered a 10-year disability, you're going to receive the same benefit in year 10 as you would in year 1, even though, of course, the cost of life in year 10 is going to be substantially higher. So again, it's protecting you against inflation in the event of a lengthy disability. So both of these are features that you can choose to add onto the policy when you're applying for coverage.
Okay, now we're back to own occupation again. So is the own occupation guaranteed with this policy? A lot of plans say own occupation for the first 2 years and they kick you off after that. Is this plan the same or will this be guaranteed up to age 65?
Okay, so once your DisabilityGuard policy is in place, it is like I've said a few times throughout this evening, guaranteed and non-cancellable. And so CDSPI cannot make any changes to that plan once it's in place. So there's no, we're removing it after 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. No, it is guaranteed in there up till age 65. And because it is a built-in feature in our policy, it's not something you need to actively add or pay for. It just automatically comes with our policy. And we did that intentionally because we know how important own occupation is for dentists. So rest assured, own occupation is not going to be removed in 2 years, 5 years, or whatnot. It is a guaranteed non-cancellable policy until age 65. No questions asked. And this is for policies that are in force. If you don't have a policy in force yet and you apply in 5 years, perhaps the terms and conditions will be different in 5 years, but that would only affect new applications. Any change in our policy is never going to impact the DisabilityGuard policies that are already in force and active.
Thank you. I already have disability insurance elsewhere. What if I want to switch to CDSPI?
Sure. So you absolutely can. And as I said earlier, you can have with more than one company. But if you're wanting to fully switch over to CDSPI, because like I said earlier, we're now one of the only companies offering own occupation to dentists. So if you want to switch, first of all, don't cancel your other policy until you get approved with us, just in case. But once you do, so then you'd apply for the full amount of coverage that you need based on your income with us. When you're going through the application, there is a question that asks, do you have disability insurance elsewhere? So you would say yes, you'd indicate who you have it with, how much you have, and then the following question would say, do you intend to replace this coverage? Again, you would say yes. And this way, when the insurance company is underwriting the policy, they know not to take that other policy into consideration because they know that you intend to cancel it once approved with us. So just give us a call and we'll have a chat, see how much you're eligible for, and get the process started if you're looking to switch over.
We're just we have a follow-up on the question earlier that you answered. So we'll clarify this. So once you become disabled, and assuming you have our plan, does the own occupation stay active for the length of the disability up to age 65? Or will it kick this individual off after 2 or 5 years?
Okay, so the like I said earlier, if you become disabled under our plan, the benefit is payable until the earlier of recovery or age 65. And while you are on claim, no, we do not remove own occupation. It stays there. One other thing I will just point out as well is waiver of premium. I forgot to mention this one earlier when we were talking about features. So waiver of premium is going to follow the elimination period that you have on your policy. So with us, you can have 30, 60, 90, or 120 days. So this is basically the amount of time that must pass from day one of disability until when the benefit starts to become payable. Inevitably, a policy that has 30 days is going to cost more than one that has 90 days because it starts to pay out earlier. But waiver of premium means that once you are disabled for a period of time that matches your elimination period, then the premiums on the policy do get waived for the duration of disability. So this is a nice little feature too, because like I said earlier, you usually have less income on claim to begin with. Do you really want to be paying for the insurance as well? So for example, if you have a DisabilityGuard policy with a 90-day waiting period, then after 90 days of disability, you will not have to continue to pay the premiums on that DisabilityGuard product for the duration of disability. If you recover and return to work, then we just resume billing you at that time.
I just want to circle back on this one. Maybe we can stay out of the legal hot water when we answer this. Is CDSPI the only in capital provider for dentists when it comes to own occupation?
I can't say that with certainty. I know we are one of the only ones, at least. But that being said, as far as I know, we are the only company that exclusively offers products to dentists. So we have no other clients. So which is why we specialize in you guys. And when we do create products, we design them with dentists in mind. Whereas if you do have a disability product elsewhere, you may have the same type of policy as a lawyer, a construction worker, or who knows what else. You just may be paying a different premium. But yeah, so I can't say with absolute certainty we're the only one, but as far as I know, we're the only one offering it that exclusively works with dentists.
So Julie, question came through here. For practice owners, is the insurance covering the same amount up to $25,000?
So our plan, like I know when I had that slide up with the 5,900, that was just an example, but our plan does go up to 25,000 a month. Now that is not exclusively for practice owners. If you happen to be an associate with an income that's high enough to justify 25,000 a month, then you're more than available to have 25,000 a month with us. It's not just practice owners.
Okay, we'll finish with with 2 more. I'm still working part-time at age 66 and
Mhm.
we'll still be working. If anything happens, is there any payout?
Sure. So our policy can act, although it's only guaranteed until age 65, it can be kept until age 75 if you'd like. It's just the premiums, we don't know the premiums from 65 to 75 until you get to that age. And if you do become disabled at any point between 63 and 75, you can certainly still get a payout, but the maximum payout is 2 years at that point.
Last question. Is there any return of premium rider available?
I think we talked about this one earlier. So we do not have return of premium in our policy, but as I said, it is a costly feature to add. And so you're paying this extra premium for a rider that you may never be able to use because remember that slide that said 1 in 4 are disabled. So, you're dishing out all this extra money and maybe for no reason at all. The CDSPI product does not have that return of premium rider. If you have any questions at all, there's no such thing as a silly question. Please do reach out to us, phone or email, and we'd be glad to help you and sit down with you and sort out what's best for you to best protect you.